Hi everyone, it's 10:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and today is September 7th, 2013. RT News just had a breaking news that says, "We say no war." Protesters across the world rally against military strike on Syria. Well, before I go into this article, I hope most of you have seen some of the videos that has gone around YouTube about no war, not in my name. Um, there was many made, and I was glad to see that because we don't want this on us people. That's for sure. I just don't know what'll happen, but I know we don't want it on us. Anyway, the caption in the picture says a Syrian girl, second left, and an Iranian girl hold signs outside the Rayburn House Office building across from the U.S. Capitol in Washington during a demonstration against U.S. intervention in Syria on September 7th, 2013. Boy, I wish I could have been there. Protests were held across the globe on Saturday to demonstrate against the U.S. led strike on Syria as world leaders asked Washington to wait for the results of a UN report before taking military action. Excuse me. Around 200 people gathered outside the White House in Washington on Saturday to voice their opposition to a military strike on Syria and demand that Congress vote no on the issue. Demonstrators chanted, "They say more war, we say no war," and carried signs reading that war in Syria would be built on a lie. There is a grassroots uprising against the Democrats and the Republicans. Founder of the anti-war group Code Pink, Media Benjamin, told AP. "We do not want another war," she said, pointing to a broad anti-war feeling in the U.S. Activists also came out in New York carrying signs, "No more war for corporate profit," and cut the Pentagon, not food stamps. So this is in Times Square in New York City today, a picture. That's fantastic. Another 150 people gathered in Indianapolis, while other protesters were reported across Louisiana and Michigan. In Canada, a rally was held across the street from the U.S. consulate in Toronto. People gathered to demonstrate against intensified U.S. efforts to garner support for a military strike on Syria. The organizer of the protest, Sid Lacombe, said that people should not believe U.S. claims that Assad's government launched the August 21st chemical attack in Damascus suburb. "We are not going to support the United States government as it launches yet another incredibly brutal, immoral, and illegal war based on lies," Lacombe told the Canadian press. Demonstrations were also held in front of the U.S. Embassy in Ottawa, Canada. Well, my good friends up there in Canada, I'm proud for you doing that because I want you to know that we, or at least myself as an American, and 90% or more of the rest of the Americans in this country also did not want this war. So, what can I say? But I'm glad that you're supporting the cause. Lebanese supporters of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, portrait left, flashed a sign for victory as they waved their national flag during a demonstration near the American embassy east of Beirut against a possible U.S. military strike on Syria on September 6, 2013. 300 people rallied outside the U.S. Embassy in the Lebanese capital of Beirut, where protests entered their second day. Activists also gathered in the Philippines and Pakistan to voice their opposition, where protests entered their second day. Activists also gathered in the Philippines and Pakistan to voice their opposition to a military strike on Syria. Also on Saturday, Pope Francis held a 5-hour prayer vigil in the Vatican City for peace in Syria, asking world leaders to remove their nations from a spiral of sorrow and death. He reminded us that violence and war lead only to death. Syrian opposition speaks out against military strike. Rebel groups have voiced their opposition against a possible U.S.-led strike on Syria, arguing that it would only serve American interests. The Syrian Islamic Front posted a message on its Facebook page cautioning its followers against supporting the strike. The Young stated that military intervention would only benefit Washington, not Syrians who are seeking to topple Assad. Another group condemned the idea of a strike in a YouTube video, saying that we reject Western military intervention in Syria and consider it a new aggression against Muslims. The statement underlined the rift within the Syrian opposition and go against the mainstream thinking of the Free Syrian Army. Meanwhile, U.S. President Barack Obama has been speaking to the world leaders in an attempt to garner support for a military strike on Syria. He has also been seeking congressional approval. The U.S. says the Syrian government unleashed a gas attack on Damascus suburb last month, killing over 1,400 civilians. The White House, which previously designated chemical warfare as a red line, is calling for limited action against the Assad regime, likely a series of airstrikes. On Saturday, the U.S. Senate Intelligence Committee released a compilation of 13 videos presented to the committee as proof of the alleged chemical attack in a Damascus suburb on August 21st. In its latest remarks, the EU said the Syrian government was the likely perpetrator of the Damascus chemical attack, but that it will not be rushed into a military action before an official UN report is released. Over the past fortnight, France and the UK have led calls for military response. Italy and Spain have assumed a waiting position, while Germany has proceeded with caution. This is in Times Square, the picture here. It says demonstrators march after a rally on Times Square. And activists burned a poster depicting former U.S. George Bush disguised as current U.S. President Barack Obama during a protest against potential U.S. strikes in Syria near the U.S. Embassy in Ankara, north of Beirut, September 7th, 2013. Okay, folks, that's the article. It's on RT Breaking News, and I think that's it for now. And I'll be posting more later if something comes up. Hope you're having a good weekend. I love you. God bless all of you. Keep your chin up. Things gotta get better. And as my grandmother, who like 2 months from living to be 100, always said, no matter how bad it looks, things always happen for a reason, and they always turn out for the best in the end. I pray that she was right. Take care. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.